Yes, sir or madam, at the front desk. I am indeed a married woman. I am here for some afternoon delight. Is there a Clint? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome or welcome back to Soaplore, the official gathering place for newbies, novices, and OG diehard fans of the golden age of primetime. I'm your host, Jed, viewing and reviewing the soapiest, sedgiest primetime storylines of 1981. So whether you're new to this or true to this, sit back and enjoy. Tell the kids it's time to play outside or out of sight. Tell babe no questions, suggestions, or concerns for the next 25 to 35 minutes. Everyone else in earshot, cool, quiet, or kicked out are the only options because we are watching our stories. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Soaplore. Hello, gorgeous. What's up, party people and people who party? Welcome back to another fun-filled edition of Soaplore. We are back in Dallas because it is a bit of an oversight. I want to make amends starting right now, though. We got 3 episodes to burn through. I was very tempted to do them all in one episode. However, I don't feel like that's fair. I really don't do that with any other things. The only other time I would do that is when I would compare apples to apples, comparing, Dallas to Dynasty to Falcon Crest episode, whatever. I didn't want to condense them because they're boring. That's not the case. They're actually far from it. But they really do all build on it on top of each other. They all kind of connect where it could have just been maybe an hour and a half and I wouldn't have been bored. Go ahead and pour yourself up something bubbly and bright. I am going to try this here. What is this? I don't even know what it's called. It's very generic. It was $1. Oh, that's good. God, I love a cheap soda. This isn't even soda. This is sparkling water. But man, sometimes you don't need all that fluff. You don't need the backing. You don't need the name brand behind you. You just need the goods. And that's what we're getting today on Dallas 1981's The Mark of Cain. There's so much jam-packed into this episode. Quick little recap. We got Donna Culver is now Donna Culver Krebs. Ugh. DCC. Donna Culver Krebs. She is living in a little house, little cabin over on the side of the property with Ray. Ray has been working with Jock on the whole T'Challa, whatever, swamp resort project. On the other end of that was Ellie and the Daughters of the Alamo, which is in San Antonio, not Dallas. Can't imagine why they don't have a different name now that I think about it. But they are worried about preserving natural habitats in Texas. On the last episode, last thing that was said, Jock said he is T'Challa, and Ellie was like, what the F? And that's kind of where we pick up from. Everybody is like, what the F? How do we not know this? How do y'all live in the same house and y'all don't know each other's business? So the old boys, not the cartel, Jock's new friends, old friends, new friends, Punky, Anderson, and them are like, dude, I can't believe this man ain't running his household like he needs to do. And Ray, they're all saying this when Jock's not there, mind you. Ray, how can you not control your woman? How come you didn't tell us your woman was on this project too? You let it get this far? Because now it's like it's going to be presented before the senators. They're going to possibly sign it into law or sign it into a bill. Forgive me, my U.S. government is a little bit rusty. But it's damn near putting a kaput on their whole project. It's a mess. Ray maintains that he and his woman don't talk business at home. He don't like smart women. He don't want to talk about money. They definitely don't want to talk about his projects, especially if she's on the opposite end of that. But at the end of the day, Donna and Ray aren't really concerned with projects. They're concerned with each other. Ellie, on the other hand, is just feeling away, which I totally get, because normally I would say, if a friend comes to me and brings me into a project, hey, Jet, come join the plant more trees so we can have shade at the baseball park. Oh, yeah, 100% I'm behind that. I'm going to support that. But then I find out that, like, my husband is in the chop the trees down and burn them up gang. Oh, that's kind of conflicting. Did you know my husband was in that? You can't even like open your mouth and say that to someone. How do you say to another person, another woman, why didn't you tell me my husband was in support of this opposite project? It sounds silly, but at the same time, I understand where everybody's coming from. Ellie walked into this blind. Let her tell it. She's like, Donna, you brought this to me. Why didn't you find it important enough to let me know that Jock and his company were in it? Donna says, I would have loved to. For the record, I didn't know the whole time. But when I found out, I just felt like that was something he should tell you. This all makes perfect sense. But as the more I watch this episode, I feel like Donna Culver I might be looking at her all the wrong ways. I feel like I had never been really suspicious of her. But this could be one of the greatest coups of all time. Did she plant this seed knowing this was going to happen? Ray definitely ain't smart enough to work in cahoots with. He definitely stumbled upon this. This all seems like a pretty happy coincidence. However, I'm looking at Donna just a little bit differently after watching this episode. Because, yeah, Ellie's right. You did bring this to my attention. You did bring it to me. So I would hope I would have all the information if I'm going to be fighting a cause, despite what it is. If you bring it to me, let me know everything. But also, girl, that's your man. How do you not know the inner workings of your man? Okay, I'm trying to think of who are the bit players. Let's go ahead and do the bit players this episode, which turned out to be Miss Pam. I was thinking about all the women on the ranch, especially since there's a new Mrs. Krebs. She does not go by Ewing because Ray doesn't go by Ewing. But they all have such vastly different lives. You got a Donna Culver who's coming in, married to a man that she actually loved. He passed away. She has a great relationship with his family, falls in love with another man. She seems to just kind of be going at the pace of life that she would normally go. No frills. She doesn't necessarily want or need the spotlight. She doesn't really want the attention, which we'll get to here in a second. She's got to come and go. If this don't work out, I'm going to be fine. It's all choice. And then you look at a Pam who's pretty much the same way. Now, she doesn't come from all the money, but it didn't seem like she ever really needed it. She wasn't really looking for it. She just wants her man. She is somewhat trapped on the property because Bobby is a quote unquote real Ewing, so she kind of has to stick around a little bit more. But she does have the freedom of her job. So if ever she decides this ain't working out for her, or she just can't stand it, she could very well go buy herself some more land. She could go buy herself a home, get herself a little apartment. She could switch it up if she really, really wanted to. People would be sad, but there would probably not be a threat to her life or anything. She would never go through what Sue Ellen went through. Then you get to my girl, Sue Ellen. Ooh. She's been up, down, in and out, on the best side, on the worst side, in an insane asylum, drunk in the hospital, baby snatched away, baby given back, face splashed all over the newspapers, in and out of love, sister sleeping with your husband, got knocked up by him. He turns out to be an even bigger deuce than she could have ever dreamed in her whole life. Falls in love with a man. He ends up dying, only he ain't dead. Then the blast from the past comes back. So, oh my goodness. That's where you start to lose the benefit of the doubt. She doesn't have that hopeful, wishful thinking. She's seen it all. She's been through it all. And now it's time to start making some choices. And this episode, she does not disappoint. And then you got the Ellie aspect. Ellie is a little bit of all of them. She was perfectly fine, sort of, before she met Jock, if memory serves me correctly. Their ranch might have been in a little bit of trouble. He was kind of a new guy who had just enough money to save it. She married him, but it seems like she's been iced out of his life ever since then. There's a scene at the beginning of the show where she and Donna are, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like they're crawling up from the subway. Did not know there was a subway in Dallas for whatever reason. Maybe they're underground parking. I'm not really sure. Donna asks her if she's okay, which is a really rude thing. She goes, "You don't look very good, Miss Ellie. Are you okay? You look tired." Don't ever tell a woman she looks tired. 2, don't tell an older woman that she looks tired. Number 3, don't tell an older woman she looks tired after she's climbing up steps. Shut your mouth, little girl. I know she didn't mean nothing by it, but shut your mouth. But Ellie, she keeps saying, this is just yet another secret that Jock has kept from me. So can you imagine 40, 50 years of marriage to a man who is wildly successful and you only know about some of that? You had the freedom. That is technically your ranch. You got the kids. You probably have enough of his wealth at the time where she could walk away if she really wanted to. But it's a different sort of, it's just kind of varying levels of quote unquote freedom. Where yes, she and Jock aren't necessarily at each other's necks all the time. She don't really know him like that. She don't really know what's going on. She will always be kept out of the loop, especially after 50 years. If he's never told her anything, he's not going to start. Back to Pam. Pam's minding her own business, growing into her Rick James haircut, examining silks and all the finest sort of textiles that Dallas has to offer, when in walks her birth mother, Miss Some Lady from Houston. She's in Dallas. Hey, girl. Pam is floored. She is Mrs. Rebecca Wentworth, and unfortunately, Mr. Wentworth has passed on. I hate that I'm doing this, but all I can hear, and I know you're doing it too. Call J.G. Wentworth, 877 gosh now. 877 gosh now. So Rebecca Wentworth is in Dallas. She's debating between Dallas and New York because that's where all her kids live. Pam's like, oh, mother, of course, I'll help you. I'll take you wherever you need to. And you know, Mrs. Wentworth has big money. So she's like, I think I'm going to stay here. I would really like to get to know you and Cliff. Where is Cliff? Have you told him about me yet? Ugh. This is very uncomfortable to watch because Rebecca Wentworth saw Cliff in the flesh at the little party, but she didn't want anybody to know because she had a whole husband. I'm not saying her kids weren't important, but there's no need to mince words at this point. They were not important enough to let her husband know that she'd had a whole nother life before him. You could say, yeah, well, he was fragile. He was on his deathbed. And he was on his way out one way or another. She didn't want to jeopardize that. I'm sorry. That's how I'm looking at this. She did not want to jeopardize that. Doesn't mean that she didn't have affection for her kids, but at the end of the day, she understood she chose herself first. You're going to have to live with that. Pam has just completely forgiven her, but the mom keeps bringing up Cliff this whole episode. At first, Pam tries to change the subject. Oh, Mama, they have the best Caesar salad here. But Rebecca really, really wants Cliff to know that she's alive and that she's there. She's all eager about it. I do not like that she's putting this on Pam. I understand this is a weird thing to reveal to your own son, considering the circumstances, but also, I don't care if Pam and Cliff were 2 years old and 4 years old. I don't care if they're 84 and 80, whatever, 6. They're still the children in this situation. Mama, you need to step up and figure out how you're going to approach the situation. Don't put that on Pam. Pam's like, well, Mama, I mean, we can't do that today, but why don't you come have dinner with Bobby? Oh, darling, I've been through so much in Dallas. I don't think I can do that. I don't want to dislike her, and I don't. It's not even, I'm not even pointing fingers in an accusatory way. However, why are you really here? What is it? How do you reframe this? This is very sad to me if I think about it for too long. Yes, they missed out on an entire lifetime with her. They thought she was dead. She knew they were alive. She knew who their father was. You left these kids with a drunkard and a good aunt. Not saying beat yourself up forever for it, but come on now. You got to meet her halfway. So you want to fly under the radar until Mr. J.G. Wentworth is dead. Then you want to come in and, hey, Pam, help me find a house. But I can't really be meeting your family like that because it's too painful. It's a different time, I suppose. I suppose it's a different. I just don't really like it. Doesn't mean she's a terrible person. She seems perfectly lovely, but also, who are you fooling? They look alike. Whoever casted them, they did a really, really good job because they look very much alike. Pam is pretty much able to just stave off this reunion. She's not really saying why, and Rebecca doesn't seem to be any the wiser as to Cliff's true feelings. Like Pam just is kind of dancing around it. Pam is the only person, her and Bobby know that this woman is alive. She's deciding to put down roots, so I guess we'll have to see how that develops. But she has to know. Yes, you've been through the roughage, you've been through a lot. I think it's probably easier for Pam to accept this because she never knew her at all. Like you never ever ever had a mom and now you have one. It's gonna be amazing. Cliff had a mom, his mom left. He thought she died. But you find out that she's been living and breathing and spending the Wentworth money and making jingles and whatnot. It's gonna be hard to swallow. Speaking of having and losing and gaining back again, my girl Sue Ellen is dealing with the resurrection of Dusty as best she can. He has disappeared from her life once again, but luckily for her, another old flame has swept in. Now, Clint, God, I wish they had totally different names. Clint, Cliff, all this is way too close for my liking. Clint is now some sort of computer mogul in the early 80s. Got it bad for Sue Ellen because, according to him, JR stole her from him in college. So Sue Ellen has completely tossed caution to the wind. Mind you, she's been through all the things I mentioned a few moments ago and back. Like, you just don't wake up one day and decide, you know what? Let me just walk the straight and narrow. Been there, done that. Been on the wild side, been on the bad side. I've left, I've come back, I've been in jail, I've been in an asylum. What more? What does she have to lose at this point? My husband's a douchebag. It's just going to be what it's going to be. So she and Clint decide to meet up again. She comes downstairs. Now, JR's on the phone trying to win back Miss Leslie Stewart. We'll get to them here in a minute. But as soon as he goes upstairs, the phone rings again, and it's Clint. And he says, "Hey, Sue Ellen, I just wanted to remind you of our wonderful afternoon yesterday. They went down to the Hotel Motel Holiday Inn and had a good time, apparently. Well, he hopes so. He just wants to remind you. So it gave a little, excuse me, miss, do you think it's possible that you could maybe look at me again and remember our coitus from yesterday? Yes, Clint. I recall. Sure, we can do it again today. No problem. Now Clint is really putting in the effort. He buys champagne. He gets a little caviar for before or after. I don't really know. They're gonna have snacks. There's gonna be champagne, so she's more likely to come. Everybody knows if you want people to show up to an event, you got to mention there's going to be food. They're more likely to show up. And Sue Ellen shows up, just, baby, all the caution she ever had is to the wind. Sue Ellen is conspicuous with a capital C. She wants everybody to see her and know. I mean, hell, they might as well just go to the ranch and do it there. But sure, I'll show up. I'm gonna wear fur in Texas. I'm gonna wear the biggest Zsa Zsa ring. Yes, sir or madam, at the front desk. I am indeed a married woman. I am here for some afternoon delight. Is there a Clint? Thank you. I'll go up to that room. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Baby, big Zsa Zsa jewelry, big fur coat, wool jacket with a big fur collar. She's loud. It's the middle of the day. She don't give a damn. And why should she? Her husband clearly doesn't give a damn. There's nothing left to this. So JR only briefly asked her about this one morning at breakfast when he just wants to cause a little trouble. He asked her if she's going shopping. She's like, I am going shopping. We both know what shopping means. We all know what shopping means. He says, my goodness, I don't think I have seen anyone shop as much as you. Mind you, JR's whole secretary, whose name is Suella or Luella, very much sounds like his wife, is keeping his dirty secrets while he's trying to sleep with Leslie. How are you going to be the woman? I'm not even going to go there. But it is pot calling the kettle black. I enjoyed every minute of it. She goes to talk to Dr. LB, who is truly her only confidant. And she's like, man, when I'm hooking up with Clint, we're having just, lawless, irresponsible sex in the middle of the day, in the middle of Dallas, in the middle of my life. God, it just feels like nothing else matters. Dr. Elby says, okay, but this is so soon after Dusty. Do you think this is a good idea? She's like, yeah. I mean, Clint is one of the happiest memories I have. This was somebody I was in love with back in college, back in the day where I was young and had my whole life in front of me. I had his love. I was Miss Texas. Like, it's just one of the better times in my life. Dr. Elway doesn't think it's a good idea to go backwards. You shouldn't be looking back, Swellen. You should be looking forward. Only when you think about a woman like her, what is there to look forward to? Many, many more years of the same old, same old. You'll have the highs from when your husband likes you, you'll have the lows from when he doesn't. Anytime you have true love, it is crumbled, it is messed up, it is a mangled heap that you are left to just sort of deal with in the most painful of ways. She's not back on the bottle. She's like, listen, this is what it is today. I'm gonna enjoy it for today. Dr. Elby pulls a question that I don't think is unfair, but I also feel like it's not everything. It reminds me of the Knots Landing episode the other day where Kenny mentions, baby two names and tells Ginger, isn't that enough? And she's like, no, it's actually not. I love the baby, but it's not enough. Dr. Elby's like, well, what about your son? Isn't that the love you need in your life? It is, but you know what? It's not enough. And she tells him as much. It's just, he's great. But the relationship with your children and the relationship with yourself is two totally different things. The relationship with the outer world at large is totally different. So she's just trying to enjoy this the best she can, but it's very, very clear that Clint wants more. My girl is just like, hey, nobody said anything about running away. Let's just keep meeting at 3:30. Save your money on the caviar. Next time, I'll pick up a pizza or some Tex-Mex. I mean, it's Dallas. She's just trying to have a good time. You know who's not really having a good time? Bobby. To no fault of his own. You want to talk about just minding your own business for real, and things just happening in your life? That's Bobby. So he took the Senate seat because remember, Miss Donna Culver did not want it. This is where I'm saying, you see what I'm saying? She didn't want the seat. Bobby is now in the senator seat, which is always it's gonna put him in a weird position. He's either going to look like he's helping Ewing Oil sometimes, or he's gonna, have to go against his family. It's an uncomfortable position. Now you could say, Jet, that's a coincidence. Is it though? Now I don't know if she has any. I don't know. Jury's still out. I just want to state that for the record. Now I'm looking at you at the side of my eye because of the following events. So because of this whole T'Chapa lake situation where Jock and his brand new development company want to build an exquisite resort, Ellie and the Daughters of the Alamo would rather that just remain untouched Texas beauty. Why you always gotta build something on top of something? Sometimes we just want some wildlife. That's where she's coming from. which sort of tracks. Do you remember that whole Mimosa Park situation where she didn't really want them to build a housing development? I had it all wrong at first. I thought she didn't want poor people in the park, but what she didn't want is a large swath of land to disappear just so you could build houses. She's like, these people they got money, they can live other places. Is how she put it. She was a little bit out of touch, but when it comes to raw land, she wants to keep it as raw as possible. So a couple of things are happening. Now that Bobby is on the Senate, unbeknownst to him, he's also inherited a few committees. One of those committees is going to have to make a decision about the T'Challa, the lake situation. Let's just call it the swamp thing. I'm getting tired of trying to remember the name. I'm disrespecting the Black Panther. I'm disrespecting everybody. Swamp thing is on the docket. They got to make a decision about it. And Bobby's like, well, damn. In his mind, he's like, well, I'm going to go ahead and piss off mom because I can't go against my dad. Now, Donna Culver slips in and she says, hey, why don't you just vote your conscience? Do you really need to build something else? Are those men really going to suffer, without one more project? So now he's all in his head. Now he's uncomfortable because he's either going to piss off his mom, who's already walking around super pissed off, or he's going to piss off his dad. And he doesn't want that. If it's me from the outside looking in, do I want to piss off an old man from Texas or an old woman from Texas? I'm pissing off that man. I feel like that woman, the blowback is going to be devastating for years to come. She's just playing a different game. And in Ellie's case, she is sick and tired of being sick and tired. She's tired of the secrets. She's tired of every time she turned around, he's got a new project she didn't really know about. She's tired of him sticking his big, raggedy, blow-upable oil rigs all over the place. I don't want to see that. Sometimes she just wants to look outside and see cow dung and dust and stuff. I don't want to see this damn oil rig erected. And then he wants to put it in the swamp. Do you know how difficult it is to mess up a swamp? But you know who can? Jock Ewing. Let Ellie tell it. Anything he or no good firstborn son touch turns to filth. And now they want to touch the swamp. And you know what? Now he's got a new son and he wants to touch the swamp too. And you know who she doesn't get to touch? Her son. Now he's on the West Coast doing the absolute most with no oil rig. And she'll be damned if Jock puts an oil rig in that swamp. At this point, it's just the principle. Yeah, I like raw land, but I also like causing you an inconvenience. And I'll be damned if I back up from this. And then Bobby, again, was off somewhere trying to sell solar panels. He comes home and everybody's pissed off at each other. He's like, oh my God, what do I do? Well, he does the first thing he can think of. He goes over to Ray's house. Now, it occurred to me on this episode, it's 1981. But besides banging his niece Lucy, which is beyond gross, Ray don't really do much anything else. He likes to ride a horse. He likes to look at dirt. He likes to go to the stockyards. He likes to drink beer till 2, 3 in the morning, go home, sleep for 45 minutes, wake up, and do it all over again. That's his life, and he's perfectly content. He's even more content to have his own little piece of land. He lives in a one-room, all browned out home, just like Pa Ingalls on Little House on the Prairie. He wants his one-room shack, his girl with long hair, and that's it. He's a happy man. So Bobby comes over as Ray is, I guess he's doing his taxes or something. Bob comes over, he offers a man a beer. Next thing you know, Bobby's like, hey, you need to tell Daddy to back off the Swamp Thing project. Ray's like, nah, I don't think I can do that. Well, and your wife in this too. There he goes. Bobby starts pointing fingers at him. Well, seems like Daddy's only listening to you nowadays. And Ray's looking at him like, Bobby, you? Is this because I'm his son? Damn. Nothing has really changed. I'm not finna get in it. If him and your mama have a problem, I hope you know that I personally don't want any trouble for them. I just want to sit in my one-room hut and, look at these taxidermied animals, drink a little beer, wake up, go smell cow dung in the morning. That's all I'm trying to do, Bobby. Why don't you leave me out of it? And Bobby's like, you know what? For someone who wants to be called Krabs, you sure are sounding like a Ewing. An insult falls a little bit flat considering you are Ewing and he was at his home minding his own business. This is all becoming way too complicated. And I can totally see why Donna didn't want it. Why would you? She couldn't win. You can't win for losing. I understand the sentiment of, hey, make sure I know what I'm getting into if you invite me to it. But who wants this? To make matters worse, when Bobby goes to work, and he has to go sit on said panel that Cliff reminded him. Cliff told him about it, and he's like, hey, by the way, your family has a lot of businesses. This isn't going to be the first or the last time. Well, this is the first time. This won't be the last time that you'll have to make decisions that may or may not affect your family personally. So you need to think about that and make sure that you're going to do the job, or you shouldn't have taken it. I love it. Cliff is, he's not super pumped that Bobby got the position over him, but also he's making sure that he keeps his head on right. Hey, you said you were going to do the job. Put on your big boy panties and do the job. Only when he gets to the little panel with the rest of the chairmen, now they're looking at him out of the side of their eye like, we kind of think you need to reach out to the governor and just not do this, Bobby. We don't think you should be on this committee because we just don't see how you can come up with this with a fair solution. It just seems like you're going to be biased. Now, no disrespect. There's plenty of us on here who own oil companies as well. But you, my friend, you seem like a liability. I don't think you should do it. Ever the determined Ewing, the one who's just going to be the stand-up guy. He goes home, he gets his mind together, he comes back, and he's like, not only am I not leaving, I'm happy to make a decision about the Swamp Thing project. It does make you wonder, like, what did he think he was going to be doing? Like, it's a celebratory moment for the Ewings. They're like, okay, we have someone who's going to be on who's going to defend us, who's probably going to help us push things through. So, I mean, not saying he knew there was going to be dirt on his hand, but he knows at this point. He's run Ewing Oil. He knows it's going to be a little bit sticky from time to time, but being in between these two people must be a complete and total nightmare. So Jock wants JR to do his very best to get back into the cartel. Now things are looking good, only now they're not. Leslie Stewart, who has been recording all of their conversations together, basically threw a wrench in his plans at the last cartel meeting. She's going on and on about this mine or something that is unethical, etc., which is the last thing you want to say in front of an oil cartel. As far as I can tell, oil companies do not like environmental companies in any capacities. They are mortal enemies. They are the Capulet and Montagues of the environment, industrial world, whatever you want to call it. She knew what she was saying by saying that out loud in front of the cartel. Now, no harm, no foul, not really. They just don't want to mess with JR at this point. He's seduced him once, he can do it again. Only his mind's not 100% of the game because he is obsessed, and I do mean obsessed in a very unhealthy way, with Leslie Stewart. This strikes me as odd considering he is such a playboy. That's the whole thing with a lover boy, though. They're going to make you feel like $1,000,000 when you're with them, but they're always in love with somebody else, too. Can't understand why he's so fixated on this one woman. Is it because she's saying no? Is it because she won't let him have her? Either way, she has got him distracted. It also helps that this is an older woman. She's been around the block a couple times. She's not as easily duped as these little young girls he's able to bed with no problem. So she gonna make him work for it. And she's making him work for it by pretending to be wounded, disappointed, not in his lack of faith in her, because he's never actually even disrespected her, but she is upset, wink wink, that she wasn't able to pull through and secure the promises she made to him. A brand new image she promised him for Ewing Oil. I'm going to make you the biggest name in oil. You're going to be worldwide by the time I'm done with you. But because of the slip of the tongue yesterday, she can't do that. So he's calling all morning looking for her. Only she turns up at the office first and lets him know that she's resigning. She's not going to be able to do this any longer. And of course, he tries to talk her back into it. She's like, I'm sorry, this won't work out. I'm not selling enough. She's really laying it on thick without emoting anything. She keeps a very level head, same tone. She's never changed her tone. She never really looks rustled. She's very much in control. But she's telling him, I was wrestling with my conscience the entire night. I spent the whole night walking and thinking and walking, and I will no longer be able to serve you. In the calmest possible voice. So all seems well enough, right? They're all outside. Okay, the Ewings have breakfast and lunch, or breakfast and dinner together. They're outside having breakfast, or rather, Ellie is sitting outside chilling. She's been out there for hours. The rest of the family starts to sort of trickle in. This is where JR asks So Ellen, if she's gonna go shopping, aka hook up, and she's like, absolutely. Jock walks out in this giant 10-gallon hat, and the look Ellie gives him is like, ugh, ugh. She goes inside. Pam comes out just kind of nonchalant to the world because you know what? That ain't her problem today. Phone rings, and it is Jordan Lee in his thick mustache. He's pissed. Jock, what is your boy doing? What is wrong with this man? And Jock's like, well, damn, I hadn't even had the paper yet. Let me look. Hangs up on him, walks over to Bobby, and I guess he sees an ad. Now, we don't get to see what it is. Pam is kind of staring off into space. The phone rings again. She picks it up. It's the Wall Street Journal, and they want to talk to Jock. So by this point, we're like, what is really going on? Now, on the other side of town, JR has made it to the office, and when he gets to the office, it is standing room only. There are reporters everywhere inside the office, and they're asking him all these questions, and he's like, what? Ecology? What? Huh? Llewellyn, give us a minute. Llewellyn, make everybody some coffee, blah, blah, blah. Takes Llewellyn in the office. He's like, you didn't think you should meet me maybe in the lobby or maybe give me a call before I got here? She's like, I'm so sorry. I didn't have a chance. He goes, well, why are they all here? Oh, you don't know? Clearly I don't know. Why are they all here? She hands him the paper. Turns out Leslie Stewart, in a final act, does put out a full-page ad basically saying that strip mining is raping the land. It is despicable what they're going to do. Ewing Oil stands for more than just profit. Yeah, we take oil, but we're about the environment too. This is a huge taboo. I can only imagine how big this taboo would be in 1981 in the oil community. Doesn't look real good, but he's like, oh crap. So you would almost expect a weaker man to crumble under the pressure, not JR. With 30 seconds worth of knowledge, he puts on that bright smile. He walks out there and he invites them all in his office to answer their questions personally. He is giving an impromptu, we believe in the environment speech. One of the reporters is like, sir, is this true? Do we expect you to go on more crusades? He's like, absolutely, Ewing Oil. We put the land before profits, blah, blah, blah. Now, whether he's aware of this or not, this is obviously going to piss off Jock. I'm sure he knows that. But by saying we profits are second to anything else, i.e. the environment, doing things above ground, making sure everything is good, that only makes the whole to Swamp Thing project look that more abrasive, look that much more an even bigger thorn in Jock's side now, because okay, you have publicly sort of denounced this sort of stripping the land of its true value and natural beauty, but you're going to build this resort. It just creates a whole nother problem. I have faith in this man though. If you're that slick and he is completely unrattled, he's going to talk his way out of this, no problem whatsoever. He remains unrattled when Jordan Lee comes barking through his office. Hey, do you know what you just did? Do you realize by you jaw-jacking the way you did, you're going to cost me and the boys a bundle? They're going to do all these investigative reports on the strip mining, blah, blah, blah. JR plays it very cool. He's like, listen, the whole world ecology crazy. Of course I'm going to say that. Do you realize that when you and the rest of the cartel left me high and dry after those Asian oil wells, I had to think of new things? One of these new things is attracting Eastern money. By being ecology crazy, I'm going to get the funding. And Jordan Lee's like, well, what about the investigation they're probably going to do? JR is like, you know that was on its way one way or another. Now listen, this is going to be uncomfortable in the moment, but ultimately, hey, it had to be done. He's not backing down. And I'm looking out the side of my eye like, why isn't he backing down? All will be revealed in time. Last thing we got to get to is Mrs. Mitch Cooper. You know how Mitch hates money, and Lucy is now making money. Not only is she making money, she's making money off of her face card, not even her family name at this point. Just her beautiful face and apparently her ample bosom, because her being Miss Dallas, that puts her on the cover of all these magazines. So Mitch comes home one day, and there is this whole setup. There's like a reporter, there's a lighting guy, there's like a director. Mind you, they have a tiny apartment. So he's like, what the hell? They're like, shh, be quiet. Lucy is giving a tour, explaining how she keeps house and manages to be a wife and the new young Miss Dallas. So she's asked to sit on the couch, and they keep asking Mitch to move back. But the director slips and calls him Mr. Ewing, which is the ultimate form of disrespect. He swallows it, he takes it, but he also says, this is as far as Mr. Ewing is going to go. This is as far as you can push him. Lucy hears this, but she can't fully acknowledge it in the moment because she has to work. She's giving the interview, blase, blase. So the next day, Mitch is at what we would call the Peach Pit / the Max, some sort of restaurant at SMU, which is Southern Methodist University. He's sitting in this like the student version of the restaurant, and the guys on the next booth are going on and on about Lucy's rack. Oh my gosh, look at her. Who's that man? Lucy Ewing. Why does that ring a bell? Now Mitch is trying to keep his cool, but his blood is starting to boil. He's trying to turn into Mr. Hyde if they keep talking about his wife and her ample bosom. One of them says, well, no, her name inside the magazine is Cooper, but that's because she's married to some med student. Oh man, it must be so cool to study anatomy with her. Yak, yak, yak. So right about that, he's like, oh no, hell no. He's about to jump up and open a fresh can of, well, now I don't think Mitch can fight. I don't. But he is from Mississippi. I'm going to assume he grew up near some sort of cornfield. He might have been in a fight, but I think he would have got stomped 3 ways from Sunday by these 3 good old boys. That doesn't happen because one of his lovely classmates comes up and pretends to need some notes or something. And Mitch he starts to pour out his heart a little bit. Like, dang, do you know how tough it is? They're talking about my wife. She's like, I understand it's uncomfortable, but also just let her do her job. She basically tells him, you need to live with it. This is who she is. This is what she does. Like, he's kind of got to live with it. Easier said than done. So the final scene is good old JR, who has basically just sort of burned the bridge between he and the cartel, ends up going to Leslie Stewart's apartment. Now, she's sitting on the couch chilling. Once she realizes it's him, she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not dressed. She's fully dressed. She goes into her bedroom. She pulls out 2 suitcases, puts them by the door, and then allows him to come in. Hey, JR, how goes it? And he's like, oh, you look so lovely. What's going on? She goes, I'm leaving town. I've been offered a really big partnership back east with this firm, and I'm going to take it. I definitely should have done this a long time ago. Insinuating that, this is her opportunity to own her own thing and be her own person. And he goes, well, don't worry about that, baby. Big Daddy got you. Big JR will take care of anything you need here. I'll financially back you. Don't even worry about that. You can have your own firm right here in Dallas. She goes, oh, that's lovely, JR. That's great. There's just one other thing, though. I also want you. And he's like, oh, I'm all yours, baby. I'm here. She's like, no. Can't do it because you're married. You see, I could never come between you and your wife. And he's like, trust me, not an issue. Not a problem. Which we all know is definitely not a problem. But she's like, no, I could never be someone's mistress. He hears all this and he says, wait, so are you telling me? She basically says, I can never, nothing will ever happen. That's not how I get down. Married men are always trouble. As long as you're married, we can work together. We can be friends, but nothing, and I do mean nothing, ever, ever, ever will happen between us. So he's like, so you're saying I should divorce my wife? No, that's not what I heard, but that's what he heard. She's like, you do whatever you need to do, JR. The ball is 100% in your court. And the last thing we get to see is him pondering the situation. Divorcing Sue Ellen and then I can bang Leslie Stewart. Seems like a lot considering who he is and his attention span. Another marriage? You really want to do that, JR? You really want to do that? I imagine he would pretend to be divorced, but the whole gotcha in this situation is that she has been secretly recording him. For what? I don't really know, but I trust that she will use that to her advantage. This is also interesting because over on Dynasty, the story is sort of similar with the whole Tracy situation. Let's see how PR should, could, and needs to be done. All right, guys, that's it. That's all for this episode. Not bad, right? It only gets better. Join me next time as we dive into another delectable episode of Vintage Prime Time. Ooey gooey goodness. In the meantime, in between time, read the paper as soon as you wake up. The last thing you want to do is be bombarded with a bunch of do-gooders We're going to ruin your family's land raping cartel. Stay hydrated, stay moisturous. Stay moisturized and keep all of your drama on TV.